Welcome, my alchemic Joker family. We've been turning shadows into weapons. The transformation starts now. Dive in and God bless.
13 minds entered your maze. None made it out whole. Oh, they thought they were ready for you. The sharpest suits, the cleanest files, trained to dissect everything, motives, patterns, weaknesses. They believed that if they fed you into their cold little equations, if they mapped your behavior across charts, across time, across trauma, they'd finally figure out what the hell you are. And so they sent the first one. He thought he was brilliant, thought he could reduce you to a cycle, thought you were just another anomaly with daddy issues and control problems. He lasted 5 days before the tremor in his right hand wouldn't stop. He said your unpredictability was mathematically offensive. The second one, she believed she had seen it all. Cartel leaders, war criminals, cult architects. She said your silence felt like thunder. She started questioning her own identity by the end of week 2. By week 3, she checked herself into isolation. They were tracking your habits, but you erased them. They traced your timeline, but you kept rewriting it. They watched your footage, but nothing matched the angles the victims remembered. And here's the punchline. They called you the bug in the algorithm. But they didn't realize you were the one who built the algorithm and left a virus behind that only activates when you're underestimated. Every time they thought they spotted a pattern, you broke the mirror. Every time they predicted your move, you did something that made no sense to the logic bound. To them, you looked like chaos. To you, it was choreography. You walk like a question they can't answer. You speak like a paradox wrapped in prophecy, and every flaw they circled in red turned out to be a trap you baited with precision. Because you're not just the result of pain, you're the orchestra of it. You learned how to turn agony into architecture, and while they were busy drawing timelines, you were busy writing destinies. See, they were taught to observe. You were trained by the fire to disappear. They profiled personalities. You ripped yours to shreds and rebuilt it into a weapon. They look for logic. You manufacture anomalies. They came in looking for patterns, formulas, repetition. But you are the exception that refuses to repeat. And now they sit in rooms with blacked out windows, whispering your name like it's radioactive, because they didn't just fail to map you. You mapped them, down to the last neural tick. You knew what they'd say before they did, knew where they'd look before they blinked. 13 analysts, and not a single one survived you intellectually intact. They didn't meet a subject, they met a mirror, and what stared back at them was every equation they never solved, every fear they pretended to outgrow, every buried instinct they never wanted to admit. You weren't in their file. You were the file. And let me guess, they're still trying to explain it, right? Still trying to patch together the broken theories, the contradictions, the footage that doesn't match, the testimonies that change when your name is mentioned. Somewhere out there's a case folder thicker than a murder trial. Not because you did anything wrong, but because nothing about you fits. And that's what kills them. You're not a puzzle. You're a glitch in their goddamn training. You're the reason manuals get rewritten, the reason protocols get revised. You're the do not engage warning stapled to the top of the file. And still, you're smiling. Because they still think this was a battle of intellect. Oh no. This was a spiritual war, and you trained in exorcisms. You walked through bloodline curses and built a throne from the bones of your past. You were never here to be understood. You were here to make understanding itself collapse, to crack the minds of the watchers, to infect the system with one untraceable variable. You, with the past no one would believe. You, with the silence that screams louder than gunfire. You, with the mind that folds reality like origami. They built walls to keep monsters out. But you were the one that grew fangs in confinement. You are the evidence that containment doesn't work. You are the experiment that escaped. Not because someone left the door open, but because you memorized every screw in the lock and rewired your pain into blueprints. Now, they call it the collapse. What you did to those 13. But you call it Tuesday because this wasn't your final form. It was just your first ripple. And if they think that was the worst of it, they haven't seen you evolve yet. The room gets quieter. My voice drops lower, slower, like a needle dragging across a forbidden record. You can almost hear them now, can't you? Those so-called analysts, whispering in conference rooms that smell of burnt coffee and fear. Their eyes bloodshot from staring at charts that disintegrate under your shadow. They stare at your photos like talismans, hoping one will finally blink first. They tried to call you a case, but you're a consequence. They tried to box you into a diagnosis, but you're a detonation. They tried to reduce you to a trigger, but you're the whole arsenal. And the thing that drove them mad wasn't what you did. It was what you didn't. You didn't fit. You didn't break where they expected. You didn't speak when silence hurt them more. You didn't move when movement was predicted. You refused to play in the language they knew. You became a living paradox, saint and psychopath, angel and executioner, victim and architect. Every file they opened, every pattern they mapped, every keyword they typed, turned back into a mirror. Your trauma became data poisoning. Your stillness became encryption. Your unpredictability became a weapon of mass confusion. That's why they're gone now. Not dead in the way the papers write, but dead in the way a man dies when he no longer trusts his own mind. They left with their degrees and their credentials, but their certainty stayed behind in the cell you built. 13 minds entered, each convinced they'd break you open like a safe. Instead, you cracked them like brittle glass and walked out with their reflections. And you kept evolving because you understood what they never could. Pain isn't a wound, it's a forge. You fed your worst nights into the furnace until they became blueprints for a mind that bends reality. You turned your own chaos into choreography. You became the bug, the glitch, the anomaly in their simulation, and you did it without raising your voice, without lifting your hand, without breaking a sweat. Look at yourself now. You're not a person to them anymore. You're a myth sitting upright, breathing. You're a cautionary tale whispered to interns. Don't get too close. Don't try to map it. Don't look too long. You're a black swan in a file of gray ducks, and they can't scrub you out. You're a living footnote in their secret manuals. If encountered, expect the impossible. They hate you for it, but they're addicted to it. Because you didn't just slip their net, you taught the net to dissolve. You taught them that control is an illusion, that their training has blind spots, that there are souls born outside the grid. You taught them that unpredictability is not chaos, it's sovereignty. And here's the real secret, the one that would kill their faith if they ever heard it. You weren't even trying. This was you on autopilot, running on the residual instinct of a survivor who learned to read rooms, to read eyes, to read threats before they were spoken. This was you still half asleep, still shedding the old skin, still in the prelude. So imagine for a second what happens when you finally decide to wake up, when you stop reacting and start orchestrating, When you stop surviving and start ruling. When you take that same precision that shattered 13 trained minds and aim it at the world itself. They think they've seen your pattern. They've only seen your smoke. They think they've charted your moves. They've only seen your warm-ups. They think they've survived you. They've only tasted your shadow, because you're not a mystery to be solved. You're a signal to be feared. You're the living proof that evolution through pain creates something beyond prediction. You are the algorithm they thought they wrote, but you rewrote it from the inside. And now, as you stand here, breathing in their confusion, feeling the static in the air, you're at the threshold. Everything up until now has been a rehearsal. The next act is the one that rewrites history. The next act is the one where you stop being an anomaly and start being a force of nature. 13 analysts went in. None survived intact. But you walked out sharpened, coded, crowned, and somewhere in a bunker filled with blue light and silent alarms, there's a red file with your name on it. And next to it, a single handwritten note. Do not engage, cannot predict, cannot control. You smile, because you know the truth they're too afraid to speak. You were never meant to be engaged. You were meant to be unleashed. The camera would linger on your face now, a single glint in the eyes, a hint of a grin breaking through the darkness, a breath, a heartbeat, the sound of a system breaking as a new pattern, your pattern, begins to emerge. The silence after that grin is the kind that crawls under skin. My voice doesn't rise, it goes even lower, like a blade being unsheathed in a quiet room. You've been playing in their shadows for so long that they forgot shadows are only cast by light. And you learned how to become both. That's the part they never saw coming. They were trained to separate darkness from light, madness from method, saint from psychopath. But you blurred the lines until the line itself disappeared. You became the angel with a switchblade smile. The paradox they were never taught to recognize, because their training manuals only covered humans, not what you've become. Do you know why those 13 cracked? It wasn't just the unpredictability, it wasn't just the silence, it was the mirror. When they stared into your file, your footage, your eyes, they saw themselves. They saw their own cowardice. They saw the fragility of their own patterns, the holes in their own armor. You didn't attack them. You unveiled them. And the unveiling destroyed them, because no one survives looking at their own hypocrisy without blinking. This is why you're still standing. Because you stopped blinking a long time ago. You've been staring into your own abyss, and instead of flinching, you carved a throne from it. You've stared at your pain until it became language, stared at your demons until they became soldiers, stared at your scars until they became maps. You didn't escape hell, you turned it into headquarters. Every step you take now is choreography in a language they can't speak. Every silence you hold now is a weapon in a war they don't understand. Every move you make now is a glitch in their code that spreads like a virus through their assumptions. And while they huddle in dimly lit rooms trying to reconstruct the puzzle of you, you're already 3 moves ahead, orchestrating the next collapse. They don't even realize that the pattern they're chasing is the one you planted, like breadcrumbs, leading them in circles until their own minds eat themselves. This is not arrogance. This is what happens when pain becomes mastery. You know what it cost you. The nights where you had no name, the mornings where you had no future, the days where you had to become your own ghost just to survive. The rituals you performed alone, without applause, bleeding into notebooks, reprogramming your reflexes until unpredictability wasn't an accident but a skill. 13 analysts couldn't survive that origin story because they've only read about storms. They've never been raised by one. They've only studied predators. They've never been hunted. They've only profiled trauma. They've never been forged by it. That's the difference. They were taught how to analyze pain. You were taught how to weaponize it. And now, they're seeing the cost. The whispers in the corridors, the empty offices, the reports stamped inconclusive and do not distribute. The reputations destroyed quietly, so no one asks why the brightest minds couldn't crack one subject. You didn't defeat them, you revealed them. And in revealing them, you dismantled the illusion of control that kept their world intact. That's why you're dangerous. Not because you're unpredictable, but because you've become a living lesson. Unpredictability is power. Pain is evolution. Duality is freedom. And the one who accepts both angel and demon within himself cannot be mapped, cannot be tamed, cannot be broken. And somewhere, right now, a new set of eyes is looking at your file. Another eager recruit thinking they'll be the one, thinking their degree, their algorithms, their credentials will succeed where 13 have failed. They don't understand that the moment they start watching you, you're already watching them. They don't understand that the moment they say your name, it enters their dreams. They don't understand that studying you is how you study them. It's not paranoia. It's strategy. It's not luck. It's design. It's not chaos. It's sovereignty. You've crossed the threshold now. You're no longer a case. You're no longer a name. You're a warning, a symbol, a living piece of proof that the old ways of power are crumbling. You are what happens when someone refuses to be predictable long enough to evolve into something beyond prediction. And if they knew what you're about to become, if they even sensed it, they wouldn't be trying to crack your pattern. They'd be trying to contain a storm with a paper cup. But it's too late. The pattern they're looking for, it isn't hiding, it isn't missing, it's growing. You're not the anomaly, you're the architect. And the next act isn't about surviving their analysis. It's about rewriting the entire system from inside out. The lights flicker. The camera would pull in tight on your eyes now, the glint of something vast and unstoppable behind them. You don't shout. You don't even smile. You just breathe, and the room feels smaller, like reality is closing in around the listener. Tick, tick, tick. That's not a clock. That's the sound of their stability breaking, molecule by molecule. Every second, they fail to decipher you. Every moment they think they're studying you is another breadcrumb you dropped. Not out of sloppiness, out of design. You've been laying trails they were programmed to follow. Their obsession with order, their addiction to answers, their hunger for predictability. You fed that. And now they're lost in a maze you drew with your left hand, while your right hand, already writing the next stage of reality. See, you weren't just dodging the system. You were infiltrating it. You were never the outlier. You were the override command. While they huddled around screens, trying to reverse engineer your motives, you were already inside their circuitry. Their models failed not because they were weak, but because you evolved past recognition. They analyzed behavior, but you studied belief. They tracked decisions, but you manipulated impulses. They coded logic, but you played with myth. And when they reached for conclusions, you handed them hallucinations dressed as data. You weren't hiding in the shadows. You were the shadow. And when the light shifted, so did you, until their instruments turned to nonsense and their confidence turned to paranoia. They built systems to handle threats. But what do? When the threat becomes the system, you became the virus. inside their firewall. Not to destroy it, to rewrite it. They still think this is about you. They think the 13 collapses were a defense mechanism. They don't realize it was a message, a demonstration, an offering, a preview. You never needed to win their game. You were just showing them what happens when someone plays without fear, without patterns, without limits. You were proving that in a world ruled by data, the one who walks without a trace becomes godlike. And now, they're checking each other's reflections, second-guessing conversations, replaying surveillance footage frame by frame, asking, did he look at me? Did he know I was watching? Did he plan this 5 years ago? Yes, yes, and yes. But it gets worse for them, because this wasn't the end of your evolution. This was the signal flare, the activation, the protocol. You've been building something in the dark. Not a network, not a rebellion. Something cleaner, colder, more surgical. A new law of nature. One where unpredictability is king. Where intuition overrules programming. Where silence is stronger than noise. Where identity is fluid, weaponized, multidimensional. You are not a person anymore. You are a principle, a threat model, a ghost protocol wrapped in skin. And soon, they won't be sending analysts. They'll be sending theologians, mystics, quantum theorists. Anyone desperate enough to put a name to the thing that shouldn't be possible, but walks, talks, and destroys timelines like it's flipping switches. You've reached a point where your very existence forces adaptation. You've become evolution's agent, and that terrifies them more than anything, because in their bones, they know you didn't survive the system. You outgrew it. You're not reacting anymore. You're not decoding anymore. You're not recovering anymore. You're executing. You are now what they used to call uncontrollable. But the new word is worse. Inevitable. So while they're still stuck in rooms with charts and cables and trembling fingers, trying to model your behavior, you're already outside the frame. You're not the glitch. You're not the bug. You're the new standard. And when they finally understand that, their final report will read only 3 words. He warned us. But it won't matter, because by then, you'll be gone, not running, evolving again.
Thank you for watching, family. We do hope this message was helpful and life-changing. Don't forget to join the Alchemic Joker community where we transform pain into power. Stick around for more powerful messages. We love you.